The aspects here. So openness, remember you guys hypothesized that intelligence was unrelated to fun. Well, fun is pretty much an extroversion sub-element, and intelligence is associated with openness. And it roughly breaks down like this. So IQ is probably a better measure of the aspect intellect, like IQ tests are a better measure of the subscale intellect than personality measures are. So what it means is that for intellect, for intelligence, we have a measure that isn't merely self-report. And it's a good measure, and we'll talk a lot about intelligence. It's actually a very easy, it's a simple thing to conceptualize. So it's a more difficult thing to try to explain, but conceptually it's fairly straightforward. The other aspect of openness is openness proper. I put creativity here, and what that seems to be associated with is the degree to which someone, there's a variety of things, but one of them seems to be the degree to which a given idea, if you throw someone an idea or you offer someone an idea, there's some probability that that's going to make them think of other things. The more open someone is, the more likely it is that any given idea is going to make them think of more things, and also the open person has a more diverse range of things that that idea might bring about. And so often the speaking style of someone who's open is characterized by relatively loose associations. I mean, like my lectures, for example. So it's a measure of creativity, but it's also a measure in some sense of lack of constraint on the propagation of ideas through the idea network. And I don't know exactly what that means neurologically. I do know that you can be relatively high in intelligence and relatively low in openness or creativity, but the two things do tend to co-vary. So for example, it's very rare for people to make any major contribution to a creative sphere unless they have an IQ of at least over 120. So it's pretty selective. 1 in 120, that's about the 90th, 91st, 92nd percentile, so it's pretty high. So openness is creativity and intelligence. It's a bit broader than that too, though, because open people are also more capable of aesthetic experience. So it's not only that they are more creative, but they also enjoy the products of creative endeavor more than non-open people. So open people are going to be interested in dance and music and poetry and philosophy. They're characterized by the capacity for aesthetic experiences. You know, so some people can listen to music and the hair on the back of their neck will stand up, or maybe they get the same sensation when they're watching someone dance. So just out of curiosity, if you're inclined to answer, how many of you have had the experience of, it's called piloerection actually, because sometimes the hairs on your arms will stand up too, as a consequence of watching, you know, something that's aesthetic, movie, or how many? Quite a lot of you. How many haven't? Okay, so well, there's a lot of, you know, by that measure anyways, there's an awful lot of open people in this class. So that sense, by the way, of having the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, that's sort of the remnant of the piloerection reflex. So, you know, let's say you're watching a cat and the cat comes around a corner and all of a sudden there's a dog there. What happens to the cat? It goes, right? It puffs right up. Even so, now its tail's about this big around, right? And I mean, it's startled, but it puffs right out, and it's like, that's an automatic reflex on the part of the cat. Now it's trying to look like it's big. You know, of course, the dog will do the same thing, so it's a bit counterproductive, but whatever. The cat's trying to look like it occupies a lot more space than it actually looks like. But there's also, at least in principle, an emotion associated with that, which is one of, it's sort of a combination of terror and awe. And maybe that's what the cat feels. But that's what our experience of awe, even filtered down, is still associated with that, you know, experience of piloerection. So that's pretty interesting. So extroverted people, or at least I think it's pretty